The views and opinions expressed by the participants on this show are not necessarily those of Stewart Information Services Corporation, Stewart Title, or Stewart Insurance. Before you make any investment, you should seek the advice of your investment advisor or attorney.
Whether you're a real estate broker, realtor, homeowner, buyer, or seller, everything matters when it comes to real estate. This is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Stewart Title's Bill Knapik and guests open the door to what really matters in owning, buying, and selling real estate. And now, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, brought to you by Stewart Insurance. Here to inform, entertain, and inspire, Bill Knapik.
Welcome to the show. It is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I'm your host, Bill Knapik. Thank you for joining us on show number 568. We have so many real estate professionals and others on the show today. It's going to be wild, and we are so glad that you're joining us here today. Simply go to stewart.com/radio. That's right. You can see and hear the show and past shows by going to stewart.com/radio. Let's get down to business as we welcome Shantae Lockett. Her company is Anchored Real Estate Group. Hey, Shantae, welcome to the show.
Hey, how are you? Thanks for having me.
Well, it's good to see you. And first of all, let's tell people Anchored Real Estate Group. Let's tell people about your company.
Correct. So Anchored Real Estate Group is a new brokerage located in Lamarck, Texas. It was just started back in July, so we're coming up on our 1-year anniversary. The owners are Therese and Fred Rogers, very awesome people. It's a growing brokerage for sure. They started off with about 8 agents, and now we're at almost 50.
Well, what's interesting about Houston real estate is that there are so many real estate professionals and companies, but yet, like your company, Anchored Real Estate Group, there are new ones all the time.
Correct.
So a lot of opportunity, to say the least, right here in Houston, Texas, right?
Correct.
Also, when you mention Lamarck, Texas, for those that might be listening outside of Houston or they may not know where Lamarck is, let's tell people a little bit about Lamarck.
Okay, so Lamarck is kind of going towards the South Coast, about 30 minutes from Houston, about 15 minutes from Galveston. So it's a little small community, but, not too far out.
So it sounds like part of the inventory of homes might be where you're near water and things like that.
That is correct.
And how would you describe right now in these, in Houston's, we'll call it coastal area, how's the market right now in terms of buyers and sellers? What's happening?
I'll say right now we've probably hit a little small shift. The coastal areas, we're by water, so we have a lot of higher rates when it comes to insurance and things like that. And then, of course, we have things going on with politics. So on the buyer side, it's kind of shifting, not as busy. I feel like a lot of, people that's been in the industry are definitely, they're feeling it, of course. But, overall, I would say, closer to Galveston, you have your islanders, people that like to travel, visit. Whereas your Houston market, people are moving like crazy. You have a much bigger market area. So not too bad, but we're kind of at a stagnant rate right now.
So we're hoping things are going to pick up a little bit, it sounds like.
For sure.
So as far as the work that you do, Shantae, do you stay mostly in Lamarck or do you go to the other areas of Houston?
I do go to other areas. So primarily I am focused on Galveston County, but I do work with Houston clients, Pearland, Rocherian, South Houston, more of that area.
And then right now in your world, are you helping more buyers or more sellers?
I would say right now more sellers. Though we are in a buyer's market, I'm fairly new, so I'm still kind of learning. But however, my market is primarily trying to focus on first-time home buyers. So that's where I want to focus more on, to give people, the option, the knowledge that they need to purchase their first home. So. Yeah.
So of all the things, you're fairly new into real estate, and that's exciting as well. But of all the things you could be doing in life, what was it about real estate that said, hey, Shantae, you need to be in real estate?
The money, of course, as I'm sure for everyone. I've worked with the community for over 25 plus years. And as I said, I wanted to give my clients a deeper outlook on what it is to purchase your first home, to make an investment. But for me, real estate is just helping people get into their first home, their dream homes, and things like that. And again, if I could do that and make good money for doing that, then of course.
Well, one of the things, as far as especially when all of us, I know I'll watch a real estate show, listening to real estate shows as well, but on Netflix and the different streaming things, there's a lot of real estate shows, and sometimes I think it makes real estate look easy. But let's tell people, it's not that easy, is it?
It is not. That is just the makeup or the cherry on top. It's definitely a lot that goes on behind the scenes that you don't see on TV. You know, they're going to show you the pretty stuff, to go pick the houses, how to decorate it, and things like that. They're not showing you, you know, the processes behind the scenes. Of course, every client is different. You know, every situation is different. But if it were just that easy as on TV, hey, I would have got into this a long time ago, you know. I would have did it a long time ago, but it's definitely not as easy as it may seem on TV, but it is doable.
And I remember talking to a friend where early on in their career, I think their commission was $10,000 or something on a given sale, and they said, "Oh, well, I just made $10,000." I said, "No, think about that. You made maybe $7,000, and you made $3,000 for the government."
There you go.
So sometimes we think about the commission being X dollars, but there's a lot of ways that needs to get split up.
I agree
So
with that.
make as much as possible, and then your cut's going to be bigger, right, Shantae?
That's a real thing. One thing that my broker has taught me, she was like, never depend or count the check. You know, they can come and go. You know, of course, for different properties, you know, there's different commissions. But you want to make sure that this is something that you love to do. Of course, the passion that you have for it determines, you know, how you exceed. So if you're a great person at what you do, you're going to make the money. But just don't count it or depend on it. It's just, you know, let it come.
Make sure that, you don't want to count the chickens before they're hatched. You want to make sure that you get the check at the closing. And then also the beauty is then you're making a customer down the road should these people stay in Houston or even if they want to leave, whether you're helping an individual or a couple, right? That's
correct. I mean, you know, you have people that move in from out of state and they don't know anything about the area. So I love how they can come in, they'll ask questions, you know, they'll ask me, you know, what about this area? Like, what's your opinion? I love to give them options for sure. But, you know, we have people from all over that come in, and my joy in it is just to welcome them to Texas. You know, everything's bigger in Texas. I love to say that. I'll welcome them in, and however I can help, you know, that's what I do. You know, get them where they would be more home, you know, they'll be more comfortable, and they can see themselves nesting there for a while.
And not only that, as big as Houston is, whether it's the center of the city, the coastal areas as we're talking about, it's so different in each and every spot, from forest to lakes to the bay and those things. So it's very fascinating. We're talking with Shantae Lockett with Anchored Real Estate Group, and it strikes me, Shantae, your last name kind of fits with real estate.
Yeah.
Lock it.
Lock the deal, right?
You better lock the deal. I was thinking of lock the door, but we're going to lock the deal down as well.
There you go.
Lock it.
Yeah.
People can't forget that, Shantae.
There you go. I love it.
Before we close this segment, what else do you want people to know?
Right now, you know, we are in a buyer's market. I would love for people to know they don't have to be scared. What you don't know, we are here to teach you. If ever you have questions, there's so much information out there that would help. But more so for my first-time home buyers, it is possible. Just get the resources, and if ever you need the help, I'm here for you to reach out.
Lock it. Lock in the deal with Shantae. Shantae, how can people reach you?
They can give me a call at 409-795-0477, or they can reach me at my website at www.taytherealtor.com. 409-795-0477.
Thanks for being with us, Shantae.
Thank you for having me.
As we continue, let's talk to Meredith Jurica. Her company is called Makeup Junkie Bags. That's right. A little twist away from real estate, but yet it still applies. Meredith, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, here you are. You're here with your bags, and we're going to hold them up to the camera here for the YouTube purposes. But first, let's tell people you have a unique name of the company, Makeup Junkie Bags. Let's tell people about what you're making.
Okay, great. So I own a manufacturing company in Conroe, just north of Houston, and I sell leak-resistant flat-packing travel bags. I used to be a speech therapist. I made this bag for myself in my home from craft store fabric, and turned out other people had the same issue. Their toiletry bags were bulky, and they didn't contain spills. So I made it in my home and kind of launched a little side business. My first month, I had 700 orders, and I was like, oh, wow. Okay. Everyone's like, are you the girl?
You surprised yourself, didn't you? Way to go.
I never knew I'd have a business. Thought I'd be a speech therapist forever.
Well, so what the inspiration to even think about bags? Give us an idea. What really said, I'm going to make bags? And because here you can buy all kinds of bags, I would think. We would call it a crowded market, just like a realtor getting into thousands of other realtors in the space. But how did you determine this?
So there was no cosmetic bag in the market keeping up with what cosmetics was doing. It's not a compact and a lipstick anymore. Now we have these huge artisan palettes of eyeshadow, contour kits, and none of them fit in any makeup bags on the market. And so I just made one for myself out of necessity. I solved my own problem there, and apparently I found a big hole in the market, and a million bags later, here we are.
And the name Makeup Junkie Bags, that's kind of unique. Where did that come from?
So my initials, MJ, my nickname, MJ, and when I named it, I was just looking for a fun thing for my little pet project. MJ, Makeup Junkie, they're really versatile bags. You can put anything in them, but I didn't know I'd make it on Shark Tank, get a patent, so where the name came from.
You were on Shark Tank.
Yes.
Let's tell people about that. That has to be quite an experience. It's a very well-known show and just great people on the show. What was that like?
That was amazing. It catapulted my business in a way that I probably couldn't have on my own. It was really cool. I had applied. A lot of people told me to apply just because I had seen success working in my home. I was one of the first female business owners to sell $1 million out of my home in the Montgomery County area. 100% female owned and operated, goofball owned, if you will. So I applied for the show thinking, yeah, right, that's never going to happen. And 4 months later, I get a call from ABC saying, are you the girl with the flat travel bags? This is Shark Tank. And I was like, oh, right. Okay. But, almost like this isn't real. And 9 months later, I was standing in front of the sharks, and it happened, and I couldn't believe it. And
who were the sharks in this particular show that you were in front of? Because there are a cast of characters, at least the two that I'm thinking of.
Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful.
Mr. Wonderful.
Yes, and then Lori Grenier, QVC Queen, blonde. And then I also had Mark Cuban. I had Barbara Corcoran, who was a bit of a tough cookie. And then I also had Sarah Blakely, who's the founder of Spanx, women's shapewear.
That could be. I'm intimidated just hearing those names. And Kevin O'Leary, by the way, Mr. Wonderful, he's wearing like $300,000 watches. I don't know if you noticed that, or he always has the red band on his watches.
I didn't notice. I think my knees were shaking if you look close at the episode. So
how do you, let's talk about this part of it in terms of, you want to promote your business and you're with all these successful people that, whether it's made up or real, they do try to intimidate, but they are also super successful, all these people. How did you keep your composure and get ahead on Shark Tank?
I think by the time that we filmed the show, there was a lot of meetings with producers ad nauseum, just lots of meetings, lots of people.
Where you had meetings with the producers?
Yes, lots of paperwork. We talked about the process and the brand so many times, but by the time I got in front of those sharks, I was like, bring it on. What you got? Like it or love it or leave it.
Super exciting.
Yeah.
And where did they film this?
They filmed it in Culver City at Sony Studios. It was next to the Wheel of Fortune show. Thought that was cool. Grew up watching that show.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You should have called me. I'd have gone with you.
It was a fun trip. It was a really fun trip.
A fun trip. So how long ago was this appearance on Shark Tank?
That was 5 years ago.
And here you are.
Mm-hmm.
You can. And what was the fine? How do they do that at the end? They say, okay, we're going to give you money, or they encourage.
Right. You accept an offer, and then sometimes the offers go through. Sometimes they don't. I actually did not sell my company, the portion of my company, like you will see on the show. So after the show, you do paperwork, negotiations, stuff like that. And I actually manufacture here locally in the Houston area, and keeping manufacturing domestic was something very important to me and has served me really well through COVID, through the tariffs, everything. So we just continue to grow, and I'm very thankful for that.
So keep on building here, right?
Yeah.
And as far as the designs, hand me one of those, please. So as far as these designs go, do you design them as well?
Yep.
And where do you get the ideas?
So I go to a lot of international fabric shows. I have a great design team. We've branched out not just into the toiletry travel bags that, like I said, they're leak resistant against shampoo, sunscreen, all that good stuff. But I go to international fabric shows, and we actually do custom printing now in the U.S. Like I can print your face on fabric and make
That'd be a big seller.
A briefcase out of it.
Yeah.
It'd be a big seller.
Or maybe not.
Yeah.
Who knows?
We'll see. We can try it.
And then the aspect of leak proof is also a great thing, because you're talking about makeup and these kinds of, but they could be used for so many things. As I explore, and I think so many people do right now, we get on YouTube. I don't know if you ever do this. You have a purpose. You go on YouTube to look for something, but then all of a sudden you find a whole nother subject you didn't think about. Next thing you know, you're down this trail. And like one of the big ones is EDC, everyday carry. So just type in everyday carry in YouTube and you'll see a lot of gadgets, but you'll also see a lot of containers, large and small, like some of the things you have right here. So there's a whole nother place for this EDC.
Yeah, there is. And being a local manufacturer, we sell to over 5,000 stores nationwide. We do custom prints. And so there's a huge market there that we haven't tapped into. We sell to like the Buc-ee's travel stops. We print their beaver on their flat travel bags and all that kind of stuff. They're pretty cool.
What size are the Buc-ee's?
They bought all the sizes actually for all their stores.
No kidding. So if we go into a Buc-ee's right now, and there's thousands in Buc-ee's right now.
You get the beaver version of this.
Oh my goodness. How much does it sell for?
That one sells for $52.
With the beaver on it?
Yeah.
Oh, I got to get one.
Yeah.
That's
They're very
the
useful.
way to fly.
Yeah.
So what an exciting. So this is your full-time thing now.
Full-time thing. I keep my speech pathologist license,
Just in case. Right. So in the meantime, here you are, you're promoting this on the radio, you're talking to us, expanding our world about, realtors. There's 1,000 uses for realtors. There's 1,000 uses for everybody to have these sorts of containers, especially when you have the different patterns, the capability to do OEM work like you're doing with Buc-ee's. You could do it for any company, right?
Right. Yeah, we do a lot of corporate jobs. Realtor success is built on relationships, and my business grew very, very rapidly because of relationships. I feel like that's a huge parallel between me and the wonderful real estate group that's here today.
Yeah, like with Stewart Title, right?
Right.
So other than being on the radio and things like this, how do you market this through social media? And I think you have someone here named Monette Smith.
Yes.
She's been helping you too in her company.
She does a lot of PR for us. She basically tries to help us tell the world about my products, and we have seen some significant growth thanks to her.
She's doing all right, huh?
She's doing a real good job.
There you go. Well, what lies ahead? Meredith Jurica, makeupjunkiebags.com. How do you plan to go forth for the rest of this year and then beyond, Meredith?
So, we've really established my company as one of the only bag accessory manufacturers in the United States, which is pretty cool that it's here near Houston. So we've expanded into suitcases, travel bags, tote bags, purses, all of that, kind of capitalizing on the sewing talent that I employ. And the people that love the brand trust the brand. We warranty our products. So now I'm branching out into luxury sunglasses, some other things. Just the people that follow us, they want everything that we think of. So we are moving into every area of the department store, or so to speak.
One day soon, you will be one of the sharks on Shark Tank. It's
we'll see.
Quite
Never
possible.
say never. That's what I say.
Well, you know what I'm going to do the next time I'm at Buc-ee's after I get the brisket sandwich. I'm going to go get that bag.
We stop every time. The kids are like, "Mom, please, can we go in there and take a picture?" So.
Meredith, what else should we know?
Makeupjunkiebags.com. Everything on there we hand make for you right here in the Houston area. Our bags are fantastic. Give us a try.
Makeupjunkiebags.com.
Ooh, I thought of something else you should know.
Go ahead.
It's not just for the ladies. We also have manjunklifestyle.com. It's my other MJ brand, and it's the exact same leak-proof travel bag except for men.
So this is on the website.
They have their own website, manjunklifestyle.com.
That sounds awesome. And if someone wants to give you a call, Meredith,
they can reach us at 936-242-1526. I have an amazing staff that loves to help. 936-242-1526.
and Meredith, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
As we continue, let's talk to a power team, the dream team, in fact, Strong Tower. They are in the real estate world. Dawn Brewer is the broker. We also have Margie Smith. In addition, Jeremiah Smith as well in the real estate world right here in Houston, Texas. Hey, guys, welcome to the show.
Hey, Bill. How's it going?
Hey, Bill. What's going on, man?
Thanks so much, Bill. Glad to be here.
Well, it's awesome. Let's tell people about your company. You are the broker, Dawn. So first, let's start off and tell people about your company.
Certainly, again, thanks so much for having us. Again, we're Strong Tower Realty Group. We're one company, two divisions. We actually have the residential division, and then we have the commercial division. Been in business for just over 20 years. We're actually celebrating 20 years this year, so pretty excited about that. We do business publicly and privately, hold a number of designations and certifications. So again, just happy to be here.
20 years is a nice number to be in anything, really, because you know so much. You've seen so many, especially real estate. Every transaction's different. So when you reflect on those 20 years, Dawn, I imagine it's exciting.
It is. And I actually started in residential real estate, but it took that first commercial transaction to really move into the commercial market. And so now my focus really is providing broker support, and then certainly training as many residential agents that are interested in the commercial market to come this way.
I have a feeling you know a little bit about training, too, because already before we even started recording, you've exhibited patience. Mm-hmm. And you also, I think, are a very good listener. I don't know that for sure, but I have a feeling that you're a great listener as well.
I'd like to believe so. I'm actually a CCIM instructor. And so really, again, what is near and dear to my heart is getting agents that don't think that they can survive in this market, don't think that they can do what it takes to actually move over into this particular segment of the market, and helping them understand the introductory portions of it and then how to make the transition entirely. So, yes, I'd like to think that I'm a good listener.
I believe you are. And Margie Smith. Margie, let's tell people about what you're doing. You're in the brokerage here with Strong Tower. Let's tell people your role with the company.
Yes, and I am primarily a residential agent. I do have the capacity to do commercial real estate as well. I have a couple of commercial deals actually currently. So, yeah, primarily I do residential.
So it's interesting. I would think a lot of times people stay in one field, but I would imagine you have the ability to learn from one style, so to speak, to the other. So what you can learn in residential serves you in commercial as well, right? Absolutely.
What I've learned is that some of the skills that I have acquired as a residential agent so far are also applicable to perform in the commercial industry as well.
Well, geographically, Margie, give us an idea where let's say your last 10 transaction, which part of Houston have you been in the most?
I would say the greater Houston area.
Just everywhere.
Just everywhere. I have clients in Katy. I have clients in Galveston County. I have a client in Conroe.
That's everywhere.
That's everywhere.
And also, you're with here Jeremiah Smith. You guys are working as a team, I would imagine, or?
Yep, that's my husband, and he is also a licensed realtor as well.
He's got a massive smile on his face, so I don't know if that's because he's on the radio or he's standing beside you, or both.
Well, my wife is very gorgeous, so, she make me look good, right? So I just got to be able to smile. But, yeah, we definitely as a team, she inspired me to do real estate again. I did real estate back in South Carolina and in Georgia when I first graduated from college. Then moving around, living pretty much in a lot of states. We came here to Texas, and she was like, get your license again. I'm like, well, you get your license. And she got her license, and she's been doing great. And she inspired me to get my license again, but I knew I wanted to, do commercial when I got back in the field because I did residential. And now, we a team. She do residential, and she got the capacity to do commercial. I do commercial, got the capacity to do residential. So we pretty much bounce off each other.
Well, give us an idea. That's interesting that I've never talked to anyone that had a license in the East Coast. We've talked to people that do in California and Houston, things like that. But give us an idea. Is there anything different of having your license, say, in the Carolinas versus here in Houston when you got here? Is it real estate pretty much the same, or how's it work?
Well, the first thing is the classes, the courses. So here in Texas is much more hours. I believe it's around 180 hours, and in South Carolina and Georgia is more like half of that. So it's not that many hours to complete. But as far as the real estate industry itself is still the same. It's just different as far as getting licensed to get certified.
You know, those are nice parts of the country too, Jeremiah.
Yeah.
The Carolina, I was just in the Carolinas a few months ago, North Carolina. It's nice.
Yeah, I love Carolina. You know, we Gamecocks, you know, go USC, you know, Lady Gamecocks, you know, Dawn Staley doing a great thing with those female basketball. So I love the South Carolina area, but I do love Texas. You know, everything is bigger in Texas, so that's why we're here.
A lot of stuff going on. Well, Dawn, what are some of the things have you put forth your company? You have about 14 agents or so right now?
Correct. There's 14, and I'd like to call the team as a whole the dream team. And so certainly the Smiths are the dream team. As Jeremiah said, they work very well together, one doing one doing the other, and just really guiding the team through the process is really what my position and my focus is.
Well, and at this point in time, Dawn, as far as, again, you're doing two things. Your company's doing residential and commercial. What's the balance right now? I'm sure it fluctuates, but would it be 50-50 at this given time as far as transactions, or how's it moving?
Oh, in terms of transactions, I would say probably about 70% would be commercial, and then the 30% would be residential. But in terms of the agents, I would say maybe about 80% of my agents do residential and 20% do commercial. It's just, as you can imagine, the volume is different on one side versus the other.
And then how active is the commercial market right now? Because on the residential, we're hearing it's a buyer's market to some degree, and depends on the locale. But as far as commercial, what's it like? Is it a buyer's market or is it a seller's market?
So we have to qualify that, right?
Let's do it.
Because we have to say what area in commercial, right? How is it in a certain area? So we have different segments in the commercial market. So we have industrial, retail, office. So I can really speak to industrial and retail because that's what I focus on. But then some of those other areas, they may be experiencing something entirely different. In the retail market, things are certainly going well in the more affluent areas, right? In the lower income areas, we're seeing higher vacancies, as you can imagine. So that begins to be a bit of a challenge. Industrial, we actually are starting to see things kind of pan out. We've had a great run, but now we're starting to see things kind of level out a little bit. So certainly that's always what I like to bring up is what area of the market are we referring to when we ask that question?
And then as far as buyers for any of these areas, where do how does the buyer process work? Where do they come from? Is it someone that says, hey, I've just started a business and I need an industrial site, or someone that wants to start a restaurant? How does it work?
So it depends. If we're dealing with an investor or maybe a group of investors, they want to come in, they want to identify perhaps a property or a project that's already income producing. Based on how that property is producing income, then they may be interested in investing. An owner maybe previously, maybe they were leasing a property and now they have built up enough profits to where they do want to purchase. So that really is, we can pull a lot of our business from previous tenants, right? Previous tenants that may now have the capacity to purchase. So a lot of times, and I heard several of the other agents that were on the show say it's about relationships, the same holds true. Right? It's about the relationships.
And Margie, give us an idea. Every real estate transaction is different, of course, but give us an idea what a day in the life of Margie Smith. Mm-hmm. What kind of things, and I'm not going to ask Jeremiah that, but I'm going to ask you, what's it like? What do you do pick a day?
Certainly.
And walk us through it.
So I'd like to do... So on Mondays, I call Mondays my admin days. That's the days that I answer a lot of emails. I make a lot of calls. I may do some mailings. I may follow up with some clients then. And then I may schedule some showings. And so that's how I mainly start my week. And then going into the week, of course, I execute those showings. We make some deals, we close some transactions, and then we schedule some closings, and then we go from there.
And then right now, let's talk about the buyers. For example, the buyers you've worked with, whether it's commercial or residential, in the last 20 transactions or so, how many have been cash buyers? You're running into cash buyers?
I am running into some cash buyers, especially as it relates to land. For land deals, they're really cash buyers.
Is there still land left here?
There is. I have a deal for you.
You know where it is, don't you?
I have a deal for you.
And once again, there's Jeremiah with a massive smile when we talk about land. So what else should we know, Jeremiah, in your world? What's happening?
Oh, man. So there's a lot of opportunity, right? Definitely in commercial. We are in the, Galveston County. We have houses. Well, we have a house in League City. So we are in League City Station. But there's a lot of opportunities in the Galveston County. There's a lot of land opportunities. There's a lot of new development going on, new construction. So I like to see new construction. When I see new construction, it means there's money, right? So there's a lot going on in Galveston County, in the Lamarck area, in the League City, in the Dickinson, Texas City. So I just did a deal in Texas City, a lot of opportunity there. So that's what's going on. So if you see an opportunity, you see something, my team, my wife, our brokerage, we'll be able to, help you, find that deal and, run those numbers for you, because it's very important to know the numbers, right? It's all about making a good deal, a good investment, ROI.
That's right. And Jeremiah, how can people reach you if they want to reach out and call you?
If you want to find me, you can call me. My number is 678-713-8548. I don't have any social media, but my wife is the genius, and she'll be able to, get you to that social media account that she runs.
And your number again is?
678-713-8548.
And Margie, what else should we know? Call Margie?
Call Margie. Call Margie if you want to, of course, do a deal. If you want an agent that is going to serve. As a retired veteran, I wanted to continue into something that would allow me to continue to serve people. And so this is what I'm doing for a living. So you can call me at 713-309-6333. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram under my name, Margie Smith. And again, it's 713-309-6333.
And which branch did you serve?
Army.
Thank you for your service, and all veterans listening. Same thing. We love the veterans. Thank you for your service once again.
Thank you,
Margie, and before we close the segment, Dawn, what else should we know?
The last thing that you need to know is you need to read and research, right? My team is going to prepare the analysis for you. Take the time to read the analysis, do some additional research. The second thing is respond promptly, right? Prompt response makes all the difference. Yes, prompt response makes all the difference. And then the last thing is representation. Not all realtors are created equal. So I do want to say who you have representing you matters. There's one of the things that we often say, and that's that we pray over every project before we proceed. And so your representation matters. So I want to tell you to read and research, make sure that you respond promptly, and understand that representation matters.
Sounds like words of wisdom. How can people reach you, Dawn Brewer?
281-733-4077. Again, 281-733-4077.
Thanks for being with us, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bill.
If you're a real estate professional, then listen closely. Cyber criminals are targeting our industry. They are impersonating real estate professionals, homebuyers, sellers, and title agents. Their goal is to gain access to your inboxes, computers, and clients so they can steal information and funds. Does your business insurance offset these risks? Not sure? Contact Stewart Insurance to determine if your business is properly insured. Visit stewartinsurance.com or call 866-798-2827. Visit stewartinsurance.com or call 866-798-2827.
Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title would not be possible without our partner, Stewart Insurance, with a focus in real estate and a special focus on real estate brokers. Stewart Insurance creates insurance plans to address the risks facing our industry today. They invest a significant amount of time helping real estate broker owners offset and manage their risks. Here he is, John Bramlett. Hey, John, welcome to the show again.
Thank you, Bill. Always a pleasure.
Well, here we are. We march on show number 568, and every show's a surprise and exciting at the same time.
This has been fantastic.
So here we are. Insurance is so important to all of our lives, no matter what we do. What have you for us today?
Well, today I thought we would talk and remind our listeners, especially those that own real estate businesses, the importance of errors and omissions coverage. You kind of want to think of errors and omissions coverage a bit like when a doctor has malpractice. So if a physician makes a mistake or misdiagnosis and they get sued, their malpractice insurance comes into play. And that's where an errors and omissions policy would come in for a realtor, real estate broker, property management firm, or independent title and attorney agent. That, if somebody has a claim that they did not handle their professional duties as anticipated or as promised, that's where the errors and omissions coverage would come into play.
Well, so important. There's so many things when we think about entrepreneurs and business, real estate professionals, and others. So many things go into the idea of, hey, I want to be in business. Again, whether I want to be a real estate agent or make a product, a lot of times we don't think of all of them. In insurance, like you're saying, errors and omissions, big deal.
Well, if you think about, the real estate business and the folks that run real estate firms, they're dealing with individual and companies. If it's not their largest financial transactions they'll conduct, it'll be one of the largest financial transactions they conduct. And because of that and because of the details involved, there's a chance that mistakes are going to happen, or there's a chance that miscommunication happens, or maybe we've forgot to take care of something. There was an oversight. And those can lead to claims. And the one thing that's important for our listeners to realize that if a claim is filed, many times it's because somebody feels or believes they were done wrong. And so it doesn't necessarily mean that there's any validity to the claim. But if somebody feels like they've been wronged or they believe that they've been wronged, there's a good chance that they're going to file a suit. And if they're going to file a suit, then one of the things we got to make sure that we have is the ability to cover the defense costs. And that's one of the benefits of working with an errors and omissions firm.
Well, and so many things, as far as errors and omission, you're right. We don't set out to make mistakes, especially the realtors that will take someone in the world for 20 years and things like that. Hey, mistakes do happen no matter how often and how well-meaning we are in our craft and profession.
Yes, and
you just got to cover the bases.
You've got to cover the bases, and if you're a real estate broker, does somebody feel like that maybe you failed to disclose a property a defect, or maybe you misrepresented the facts about a neighborhood? Did you breach your fiduciary responsibility? Was there an error in the contract, or was there an error in the paperwork? If you're dealing with a property management firm, did you mishandle the rental dollars? Did you mishandle a repair? Did you fail to comply with, landlord and tenant laws? Those are the kinds of things that can cause a suit. If you're a independent title and attorney agent, you're going to want to make sure that the title search was correct. That we've done all the closings, that there weren't any mistakes in the closings, there aren't any errors in the documentation. So all those things potentially can cause a claim. And as you said, mistakes happen. So this is a backup so that if something does happen bad, that you can offset some of that financial exposure onto an insurance company.
Fascinating. And errors and omission is just one of the many things on the menu at Stewart Insurance. You're doing so many things there, you and the team.
Well, it is. For businesses, the errors and omissions is usually what we lead with because it can help with legal defense coverages that I mentioned. If we need to do something to repair the reputation of the firm, if there's a settlement or a judgment included, it can help offset some of those costs. And then just the fact that letting your clients know that you have that coverage provides some confidence. But as you mentioned, there are also several other business insurance plans that we help our clients build. So cyber liability is critical in today's world, protecting from all the hackers that are out there. General liability helps protect in case there's bodily injury or property damage. If you want to roll in commercial property coverage within the general liability, then we can build a business owner's policy. If you have a series of employees, workers' compensation may come into play. So there are a number of business insurance plans that we can build for real estate specific organizations. And then on our personal line side of the house, we work with individuals and families on their home, their wind, their auto, their flood, motorcycle, watercraft insurance.
One, we take this opportunity once again to remind people, as you're helping people and people know about us maybe a little bit more in the Houston area, because that's where we're at and that's where we circulate in the various events and things like that. But you're helping people in other states like South Carolina, North Carolina. Stewart Insurance, your expertise and counsel with your team is available to all those in the United States.
It is. We have personal and business insurance clients all over the U.S.
All they have to do is call the number, right?
All they have to do is call 866-798-2827. That's 866-798-2827. If they'd like to learn more about us, they can visit us at stewartinsurance.com or email us at stewartinsurance@stewart.com.
One of the things I think about when I think of Stewart Insurance, John, also is the training that your company does on an ongoing basis. Because as you laid out the various types of insurance, the business, the regular homeowners, even car insurance and things like that, your team has to know so much about so much. And that's done through constant learning and led by Tom Carpentier, the president of Stewart Insurance. On a regular basis, he makes sure that the important information as it's ever changing is distributed amongst the team so they're prepared to handle all these things in a very professional and a knowledgeable way.
Well, one of our guiding principles is to be a lifelong learner. And if we're looking for folks to join the team, that's one of the characteristics that we want. Because, yes, there are training opportunities that the organization prepares and provides, but also as an individual, you need to take ownership of your career. You need to be the CEO of your career, and part of that is taking the time and investing the time to learn more about sales, client service, reading insurance policies, business as a whole, how to work with people. You know, those are all elements that are important for us to be successful and to make sure that our clients are properly insured.
You just made me think about reading an insurance policy. Not something I don't think all of the insurance that I bought in my medium length life, I've never read a whole policy.
Well, I could be happy to send a couple over for you. It's riveting stuff.
I imagine it is, but there's so many terms and things. It's another language. That's why we need the professionals at Stewart Insurance.
No, we've got a great team, and they'll work with our clients, whether it be the most robust coverage in the world or a very conservative policy. As long as our clients are happy that the coverage meets their needs at this point in their life, then they're properly insured.
Sounds good, John. So, again, people can reach you in the United States simply by calling
866-798-2827. 866-798-2827.
John, thanks again for being with us.
Bill, always a pleasure.
In today's litigious society, it is imperative to have the proper insurance to offset the many risks facing your business, especially if you're a real estate broker. Your errors and omissions and cyber liability insurance can help limit the threat of these risks if you know what to look for. Not sure if your insurance addresses the risks facing your business? Contact Stewart Insurance to be confident your brokerage can withstand these risks. Stewart Insurance, 866-798-2827. StewartInsurance.com. That's StewartInsurance.com or call 866-798-2827. When it comes to real estate, everything matters. Whether you're a broker, realtor, homeowner, buyer, or seller, for informative and entertaining information when it comes to owning, buying, and selling real estate, tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, brought to you by Stewart Insurance.
Well, as we close the show, it's time to talk briefly to one of our Stewart Title business development officers, and it seems like we talk to her a lot. That is Hope Moy. Hey, Hope, welcome back.
Hey, Bill. Good to see you.
What should we know?
I just wanted to talk quickly about my two offices. I have a office on 1488 and 2978. That is my Stewart Title Magnolia office. I have two fantastic escrow officers there. And also I have another office in Conroe off of 336 and 105, and I have 3 escrow officers there. We're here to partner with you, be a resource for you, help you build your business and all the marketing things that are available. We have classes and events, and I would love to talk to you.
Doing tremendous work out there, Hope. And how can people reach you?
Call me at 346-224-1908. Again, the number is 346-224-1908.
Thank you, Hope Moy. And
Thank you, Bill.
now here is Jana McGuire, developing business for Stewart Title also in a magnificent way. Hey, Jana, what's up?
Hey, Bill. How are you?
So here we are. What a team we have here today in the
Absolutely.
studio. A
It's
lot
been
of
a great
people,
team.
overwhelming in some ways in terms of the knowledge and the things that we're learning. What should we know about your office in Clear Lake?
Clear Lake, and that is zip code 77062. We have a full office. With escrow, we do residential and commercial. And then also I'm the business development officer. So I'm in charge of helping my agents and sharing my tools and teaching them. And if you ever need net sheets or anything like that, I'm your go-to girl to call me and I will help get that to you. And if you want to do it on your own, I'll show you how.
Some great things that you're offering right there. You and the whole team right here in Houston, we have about 17 business development people doing work in a magnificent way, being partners and helping real estate professionals far and wide in this massive fourth largest city, right?
Yes, right.
The number
Love it.
again, Jana McGuire, is
832-244-3439.
and tell your husband Mark we said hello on the show right
sure
here.
will.
Thank you,
All right.
Jana. And now Shantae is back. Shantae, lock it the door or something like that, right, Shantae?
We're going to lock the door. We're going to seal the deal.
We're going to lock it. So let's tell people, Anchored Real Estate Group, what else should we know?
Anchored Real Estate Group is also owned by 2 Navy vets who had the highest ranks in the military. So that's an awesome thing.
It is.
I work for a great brokerage. We are totally about our people and making sure that we can make their dreams come true, or, giving them the deals that they need, whether it be commercial or residential.
And Shantae, how can people reach you?
They can give me a call at 409-795-0477, or they could visit my website at www.taytherealtor.com.
Phone number again is?
409-795-0477.
Shantae, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me, Bill.
And now, Makeup Junkie Bags. Never thought I'd say that. I never heard of a combination as exciting as that. Here she is, Meredith Jurica. Hey, Meredith.
Hi.
Okay, Makeup Junkie Bags. Everybody needs one or two. You can
Or
buy as
10.
many. You can buy as many as you want, right?
Great gifts. Best gift giver under the tree this year.
I'll be going to Buc-ee's soon to get
Yeah.
mine with the beaver on it.
Yeah.
What else should we know?
We do a ton of custom printing, not just for Buc-ee's, but for businesses all over the U.S. If you want your company logo or anything for your family or your business printed, we do print all of our fabric for that in the U.S., and I can print anything.
So when people buy the bags, they buy them primarily from the website and, of course, retail outlets like a Buc-ee's for their personalized brand, so to speak. But where else can they get them?
Yeah, they're in a ton of boutiques, over 5,000 boutiques,
My
gift
goodness.
shops, Hallmark, Gold Crown, department stores, things like that. So you can get it directly on our website as well, makeupjunkiebags.com.
And you brought 2 youngsters here. You want to at least say their names? They look like they're bored as all could be, but there they are.
Do y'all want to say hi?
What's their names?
Those are my daughters, Faith and Jenna. They grew up in the makeup bag factory, and they are a huge part of it every day.
I bet you get a little work out of them every now and then, or no?
If they want something. But we were working this weekend, and my staff today found a bunch of crafts all over the office
There
that they
you go.
had made over the weekend.
Again, Meredith, the website is?
makeupjunkiebags.com. Back to you, Bill.
Thank you, Meredith. And now, Strong Tower. As we close the show, we now have Dawn, Margie, and Jeremiah here with Strong Tower. Hey, guys, welcome back.
Hey, Bill. How's it going?
Hey, Dawn, there you are.
Hey there.
And everyone has a microphone. This is the world of radio abundance right here, right, Dawn?
Indeed.
So before we close, Dawn, what should we know?
Definitely want to say that, again, education is important. I mentioned that I hold the CCIM designation, and with that designation, we want to educate as much as possible. So whether you are an experienced practitioner or if you are new to the commercial market, education is vitally, vitally important. The last thing I want to say is leave a legacy. We do have a junior associates program, and so leave a legacy educating the younger generation. My son is 10 years old. His name is Jordan, and I literally am teaching him commercial real estate. He knows everything he needs to know about residential, but I'm teaching him. My daughter Desiree is 25 years old. She has her real estate license. And so again, leave a legacy, because it does make a difference.
Sounds awesome. Now there's two Jeremiahs here, so we're gonna have a word from Big Jeremiah. First, introduce your son there, would you, Jeremiah?
So this is my legacy right here, Jeremiah. This is my legacy right here, Jeremiah Jr. He's 10 years old, so he just wanted to, promote his business. So
he's got a business at 10?
Yeah, he
All
has
right.
a business. Go ahead, Jeremiah.
Jeremiah, what should we know?
I have a YouTube channel. It's called Lion Gamer J. They have spaces in it, and I do gaming content about Roblox, Fortnite, and Spider-Man, and I will do much more if you guys can comment on my videos if y'all want me to play games on whatever console or.
And tell us again, the name of the channel is
Lion Gamer J.
Lion Game J.
Yes.
J as in Jeremiah. Sounds good to me. I'm going to check it out right after I go to Buc-ee's. In the meantime, hey Margie, that's Jeremiah, huh? You know him. You got two Jeremiahs in your life.
I do, and he's a junior. They're both Jeremiah Isaiah Jr. 2 books in the Bible.
And you have your work cut out for you, no doubt.
I do.
Let's tell people how they can reach you, Margie.
They can reach me by phone at 713-309-6333 or on social media at Margie Smith on Facebook, and then Margie _Smith TX on Instagram.
And Dawn, let's tell people how they can reach you.
281-733-4077. Again, 281-733-4077. Thanks again, Bill.
Thank you all, and thank you all for listening to Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I am your host, Bill Knapik. Together with John Bramlett, all of us at Stewart Title and Stewart Insurance, we appreciate you listening. If this is the first time checking out the show, check us out again. If you've been a long-time listener, we appreciate it. And simply go to stewart.com/radio. That's right. You can see and hear the show again and again and access the show archives at stewart.com/radio. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.